Tonight, Baton Rouge native and rapper Glenn Clifton Jr., also known as Young Bleed, died over the weekend from a brain aneurysm. News 2's Haley Jefferson spoke with his family.
Michael, many people may know Young Bleed for his hit single, How You Do That, or his affiliation with rap label No Limit Records. His family says after a performance in Las Vegas a little over a week ago, he collapsed.
I'm gonna miss him. I'm not mad because he's gone. He left doing what he loved doing.
Glenn Clifton Jr., also known as Young Bleed, performed at the Cash Money No Limit Versus concert on October 25th. Hours later, he was rushed to the hospital. His family says after the concert, he went out with some friends to celebrate and performed again. But as the night began to wind down, they say he collapsed. Clifton's mother, Florida Allen, says he suffered a brain aneurysm that caused him to go into cardiac arrest.
T. Hood, born Tevin Hood in Gwinnett County near Atlanta, grew up in a world where music wasn't just entertainment. It was a survival language, a lifeline, and a way to define himself beyond the streets and the hardships that surrounded him. From a young age, he absorbed the deep bass lines, fast rhythms, and gritty storytelling that made Atlanta's rap culture unlike anywhere else in the world. By the time he reached his early teens, Tevin was already recording freestyle tracks on a simple phone, repeating and refining every line until it carried the hunger and determination of someone who refused to remain silent, someone who wanted the world to listen no matter how small the room, how cheap the equipment, or how skeptical the audience. He began performing in crowded basements, parking lot ciphers, and tiny community events where his humor, his magnetic energy, and his confidence made him impossible to ignore. Each small crowd that cheered for him added to his momentum, and each verse he delivered became a step toward a career that, though still underground, was bursting with potential. His sound evolved into a unique mix of southern trap energy and raw personality, a voice that was both authentic and electrifying, capable of turning ordinary beats into anthems for his generation. Songs like Ready to Go, Percolator, and Big Booty became more than music. They were statements, expressions of identity and ambition, a declaration that T. Hood would not be overlooked. Even his social media presence carried the same fearless energy, from bold posts to the viral cemetery video where he wore a white sheet and moved between gravestones, blending art and promotion in a way that drew attention far beyond Georgia. People laughed, debated, shared, and eventually realized that T. Hood was not just a local phenomenon, but a rising force in Southern rap, combined creativity, authenticity, and charisma in a way few could replicate. Every performance, every freestyle, every track added layers to the persona he carefully constructed, a persona that was both a shield against the hardships of his surroundings and a beacon to the fans who already felt he belonged to them in a way that was rare, real, and magnetic.
Get to him, he was out of oxygen for a while, and that's when they told us that he has no life to the brain.
Clifton passed away on November 1st at 51 years old, leaving behind his mother and 5 children.
Nobody never expected him to, not come home. He's never not done that.
Prior to Clifton's passing, his family says he didn't have any health issues except high blood pressure. Clifton first started his career as a rapper in Baton Rouge as a member of hip-hop group Concentration Camp that formed in 1995. A few years later, he was discovered by New Orleans native Master P, where he was signed to No Limit Records.
He always wanted his life to shine, and his life is shining. I just wish he was here to see it.
Ty G. Clifton says he will continue to keep his father's legacy alive by posting things like his music, pictures, and never-before-seen content on his social media.
At some point, once I get everything legally where it needs to be, I'm going to give them all of that type of stuff. So just that. If I feel like it's getting dry out there, I'm going to drop something they ain't never seen.
Clifton's family set up a GoFundMe to help with hospital bills, funeral costs, and transporting him from Las Vegas to Baton Rouge. You can find a link to that on our website, WBRZ.com.
Yet behind the bright persona and nonstop hustle, Tevin Hood carried the weight of personal struggles that fame alone could not erase. The pressures of rising success, family responsibilities, and a turbulent home life slowly began to collide, creating tension that was invisible to most, but palpable in quiet moments he rarely shared. In the late hours of the night, he would retreat to the studio, headphones on, lost in a world of beats and lyrics, imagining a future that could lift him beyond the limits of his neighborhood. He dreamed of bigger stages, collaborations with artists he admired, and a body of work that would define him as more than just a viral sensation. However, life outside the studio continued to press against him in unpredictable ways. On a humid August night in Georgia, the strain erupted into a domestic conflict that escalated far too quickly. Voices were raised, emotions heightened, and in a brief, violent instant, gunfire broke the fragile calm. First responders arrived swiftly, but the injuries were too severe, and T. Hood's life was tragically cut short before he could fully realize the heights of his talent and potential. The news shocked fans, friends, and the entire Atlanta rap community, leaving a void that no music could immediately fill. While he had always been bold, fearless, and unapologetic in his artistry, the suddenness of his death reminded the world that even rising stars, no matter how strong or driven, can be vulnerable to the unpredictable chaos of life. The streets that had nurtured his ambition now echoed with loss, his unfinished tracks and unreleased ideas standing as silent reminders of what might have been. Yet even in death, his influence lingered. Every beat he laid down, every lyric he recorded, became a symbol of the intensity, the authenticity, and the unstoppable force that had defined his brief but remarkable journey. The night of his passing became a defining moment in Atlanta's music history, one that left the city grappling with grief, questions, and the bittersweet knowledge that they had witnessed greatness cut tragically short. T. Hood's story, like his music, demanded to be remembered not only for its brilliance, but for the stark reminder of the fragility and unpredictability of life.
Climbed that shit and jumped on some live wires, being suicidal, cut off all the lights. We used to be on coke, crack, PCP, alcoholic. My granddaddy died of alcoholic. I used to watching Piss Blood as a child. So before I went outside, this was in the family. So he climbed, you know, the power section in your neighborhood? Well, yeah. I climbed that shit and jumped on some live wires, being suicidal, cut off all the lights. When I went to the hospital, he looked like grown me with eyes in it. He was Jimmy Gang, had to scrub all the skin off of him. But those kind of tears pushed to try to do something different than what
The aftermath of T. Hood's death moved faster than most could process, spreading across social media, radio, and music networks with a shock and intensity that marked the loss of a beloved figure. Fans, friends, and collaborators immediately flooded timelines with memories, tributes, and the acknowledgement that the city had lost someone extraordinary. The viral cemetery video resurfaced repeatedly, now carrying a haunting symbolism that viewers could not have foreseen. Candlelight vigils appeared in neighborhoods he frequented, and fans shared stories of the man behind the music, his humor, loyalty, creative genius, and the unstoppable energy he brought into every room. His mother spoke at gatherings, describing the boy behind the name as loving, determined, and unafraid to dream, despite adversity. Even with investigations ongoing and questions still unanswered, one fact remained indisputable. T. Hood had left an indelible mark on music and on the people who believed in him. His songs continued to fill cars, playlists, and studio sessions, where emerging artists studied his flow, ambition, and fearless creativity. Though his life ended far too soon, his legacy lived on, not only through the music he left behind, but through the inspiration he provided to anyone willing to pursue dreams with the same intensity and authenticity. T. Hood had carved a sound that would continue to echo in the hearts of fans in the streets of Atlanta for years to come, proving that even though a life can end abruptly, the impact of a true artist is timeless. His story, one of talent, passion, struggle, and triumph, remains a testament to creativity unbounded by circumstance, reminding the world that a vibrant life, lived fully and fearlessly, never truly fades. Every beat, every lyric, and every performance serves as a living archive of the energy, dreams, and unstoppable ambition that Tevin Hood carried until the very end, leaving behind a legacy that refuses to fade, a voice that continues to inspire, and a reminder that greatness, even when brief, can leave an eternal mark on the world.